Welcome to another step in your mindful transformation journey with EcoWellness Journeys. What would your life look like if fear, self-doubt, and perfectionism didn't hold you back? Just imagine the freedom you'd feel, the ability to embrace opportunities without hesitation, to step into your authentic self without second-guessing or striving for impossible standards. In our third installment of this 8-part series, we uncover the barriers that quietly shape our lives. Fear, self-doubt, and perfectionism can be relentless, keeping us stuck in cycles of worry and hesitation. But here's the truth. You don't have to live this way. You have the power to release what no longer serves you and step into a life of greater confidence, peace, and self-acceptance. We'll explore how these patterns take root in our lives, how to notice when they show up, and simple yet powerful mindfulness practices to begin releasing them. By the end of this video, you'll have actionable steps to help you let go and move forward, imperfectly but courageously. Letting go is a process, not a destination. Each small step you take creates space for growth, joy, and possibility. So let's take that first step together. Have you ever stopped to wonder why fear, self-doubt, or perfectionism seem to have such a strong grip on us? These patterns don't appear out of nowhere. They're like the deep roots of this tree, anchored in our past and the stories we've carried with us. Fear often takes root in our need for safety. Maybe there was a time in your life when being cautious felt like the only way to protect yourself. Over time, that fear can grow, whispering, "What if you fail? What if you're not enough?" Self-doubt often grows from seeds of criticism, things we've heard from others, or comparisons we've made to those around us. It's that voice that says, "You can't do this," or "You're not as good as they are." And perfectionism? That one's tricky. It often stems from a deep desire to be valued or to avoid judgment. Somewhere along the way, we start believing that if we could just do everything perfectly, we'd finally be enough. Enough to be loved, enough to belong, enough to succeed. These patterns often start as coping mechanisms, ways to shield ourselves from pain or rejection. And in certain moments, they may have served us. But over time, they become barriers, holding us back from the growth, joy, and freedom we truly deserve. The first step to letting them go is understanding where they come from. When we see these patterns for what they are, not flaws, but learned responses, we begin to loosen their hold on us. And that's when the real healing can begin. In the next segment, we'll look at how these patterns appear in your daily life and how to start noticing them with curiosity instead of judgment. Let's keep walking this path together. Sometimes fear, self-doubt, and perfectionism can feel like invisible forces shaping our choices even when we don't realize it. They show up in quiet, subtle ways that can keep us stuck in cycles of hesitation and frustration. Take fear, for example. It might show up when you find yourself avoiding opportunities because they feel too risky or uncertain. Or maybe it sneaks in as overthinking, where every decision feels weighted by worst-case scenarios. Self-doubt has a way of creeping into our minds, making us second-guess ourselves at every turn. It whispers, "What if you're not good enough?" Or, "Why even try if you'll just fail?" It can leave us feeling unworthy, inadequate, and hesitant to take that next step. And then there's perfectionism, that sneaky little voice that tells you everything needs to be flawless before it's worth sharing with the world. It can lead to procrastination as you put things off, waiting for the perfect moment. Or it might look like getting stuck obsessing over tiny details, losing sight of the bigger picture. Take a moment to think about where these patterns might appear in your life. Do you avoid certain situations because of fear? Do you hear self-doubt when you're about to try something new? Or maybe perfectionism holds you back from starting or finishing a project. Awareness is the first step toward release. When we notice these patterns, we can start to question them. What triggers them? How are they influencing your choices? This kind of reflection is where transformation begins. Next, we'll explore how to use mindfulness practices to begin releasing these patterns, gently, step by step. Let's continue this journey together. Fear, self-doubt, and perfectionism can feel overwhelming, weighing us down and impeding our progress. But mindfulness offers us a way to gently release their grip, one moment at a time. Let's explore a few simple practices to help you ground yourself and move forward with compassion. Grounding in the present moment. When fear arises, it often pulls us into the future, into a spiral of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. Grounding helps bring us back to the moment, the only place we truly have control. If you're overwhelmed, pause and connect with the earth beneath you. Feel your feet pressing into the ground. Take 3 deep, intentional breaths. Breathe in and out. With each breath, remind yourself, I am safe in this moment. Fear may still whisper in the background, but grounding reminds you that here and now, you are okay. Observe without judgment. Self-doubt often feels like a storm in our minds. But what if you didn't have to fight it? What if, instead, you could simply observe it, like watching clouds float across the sky? Imagine your self-doubt as a cloud. Notice its shape and size, but don't try to hold on to it or push it away. Just let it drift, knowing it's temporary. With practice, this observation creates space between you and the thought, giving you room to breathe and move forward. Imperfection as a path to growth. Perfectionism tells us that everything has to be flawless to be worthy, but that's simply not true. Growth doesn't happen in perfection. It happens in the messiness, the trying, and the learning. Think about this stream. It's not perfectly still, but its movement makes it beautiful. When you notice perfectionism creeping in, pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from doing this imperfectly? Remind yourself that progress, not perfection, is what matters most. With each mindful step, you're building resilience, self-compassion, and the courage to let go of what no longer serves you. In the next segment, we'll take these mindful practices and turn them into actionable steps you can apply in your everyday life. Let's continue this journey together. Letting go of fear, self-doubt, and perfectionism isn't just about recognizing them. It's about taking action, one small step at a time. These steps don't need to be big or dramatic to create meaningful change. Let's talk about 3 simple actions you can take today to start releasing what's been holding you back. The first step is to name your fear or doubt. Write it down. Give it a name. Maybe it's, I'm afraid of failing, or I don't feel good enough. Whatever it is, putting it on paper makes it real. And when it's real, it's something you can work with. When you name it, you take away some of its power. It's no longer this big, undefined thing lurking in the background. It's just a thought, one you can begin to face and release. Next, let's talk about perfectionism. It can be sneaky, can't it? Always whispering that things aren't quite ready or that you need to do just a little bit more. But here's a truth that changes everything. Eloquently stated by Sheryl Sandberg, the author of Lean In: Women, Work, and the Will to Lead. Done is better than perfect. Sandberg's quote reminds us to avoid getting caught up in unattainable standards and instead to focus on progress and action. Set a boundary with your perfectionism. Create a time limit for your tasks or a good enough rule. For example, if you're working on a project, decide ahead of time what done looks like. Then stick to it. Remember, progress happens in the doing, not in the endless striving for flawless. Finally, ask yourself this: what's one small, brave action you can take today, even in the presence of fear? Maybe it's sending that email you've been putting off, speaking up in a meeting, or simply trying something new that excites you but feels a little scary. Remember, courage doesn't always look like big, bold moves. It grows in small moments, those little steps you take despite the fear. Each time you act, you're teaching yourself that you're stronger than you think. These steps may seem small, but each one creates a ripple, building strength, resilience, and freedom in your life. In our final segment, we'll reflect on this journey together and look ahead to the next part of your mindful transformation. As the day winds down, I invite you to take a moment for yourself. Tonight, write down one fear, one self-doubt, or one perfectionistic habit you're ready to let go of. Be honest, be brave, and then write down one small step you can take to move forward. Nothing complicated or overwhelming, just something meaningful to you. These small acts of reflection and courage are the seeds of transformation. By letting go, even just a little, you create space for something new, something that aligns with the person you're becoming. I'd love to hear from you. Share your brave step in the comments below. Let's inspire each other, celebrate our growth, and remind ourselves that we're not alone on this journey. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And this is just the beginning. In our next video, we'll explore how to rebuild your self-confidence, laying the foundation for a self-belief that empowers everything you do. I can't wait to share it with you. Until then, take care of yourself. You're already on the path to becoming the person you're meant to be, and that's something to be proud of. Letting go of what holds you back is a journey, not a single step. It takes patience, kindness, and a willingness to try again and again. But with every small effort, you're moving closer to the life you deserve. Remember, you're stronger and braver than you know. The fact that you're here, taking these steps, shows how much you're capable of. Trust in that. Thank you for sharing this space with me today. It's an honor to walk alongside you on this growth and self-discovery journey. I can't wait to continue exploring with you in our next video, where we'll dive into rebuilding your self-confidence, a foundation that empowers everything you do. Until then, take care of yourself and know this: you are already enough, just as you are.